Well, something very fishy going on at the IRS. Sure seems like someone might have gotten some special, very special treatment, so special to the tune of $500 million. Now, a whistleblower contacted the House Oversight Committee, and now Congressman Issa is investigating. Chairman Issa joins us. Nice to see you, sir.
Good seeing you, Greta, and thanks for following up on yet another scandal of not political appointees, but career professionals who don't seem to have used the kind of judgment you and I would use in starting with a new company, unproven, and issuing them over $500 million worth of contracts.
All right. Now, first of all, here's what I don't get. You have one employee at the IRS whose name we don't know. It's blackened out in all the papers I have. And it's a particular company who's never had contracts before the IRS, gets $500 million worth of contracts. What were the contracts for? To do what kind of work?
It's to supply mostly off-the-shelf computers and so on, if you will, IT outsourcing. The important thing here is that it only got the opportunity to have this kind of a contract because it located itself in what's called a hub zone, a historically underutilized business zone. The idea of this is you give an opportunity for these blighted areas, in this case, Northeast Washington, D.C., for investors to go in there and create jobs. This is not an example where we can find virtually any jobs, virtually any underprivileged young people or even not young people getting jobs. And this is a company that it hadn't even made up its mind on its name. It had a number of names in its first year.
All right. Now, the person who, from the IRS, does that person have a relationship with the company at all, any personal relationship?
There does appear to be a friendship between the CEO of this company and the individual at the IRS that could help make this decision. Friendships alone are not wrong, but when you see this kind of risky behavior, and I repeat, when you look at $81 billion worth of spending on IT by the federal government, and as much as 20% of it ultimately being written off as wasted, you've got to really scrutinize a brand new company getting this much business overnight.
Is this the kind of contract, though, for two questions? One is, aren't there competitive bids, number one, so at least we get the best deal, assuming that we even need this type of outsourcing done? And number two, can one person at the IRS make those types of decisions, constituting $500 million to one business?
Well, it shouldn't happen, but it appears as though it did. This was something in which much more historically qualified vendors were not awarded the contract, and it doesn't appear as though the basis for the contract award was money. In other words, this wasn't a low bid situation. This was you're in a disadvantaged area, therefore you get it. But indications are they kind of shop for their disadvantaged area. As a matter of fact, and Greta, you know Washington, D.C., Catholic University's campus is not the blighted part of Northeast.
Well, I noticed in your letter to the acting Secretary of Treasury, you referred to it as questions about the integrity of the process. I'm going to take the last word on it, but I'd go beyond integrity as a possibility of a crime if all this stuff does pan out with your investigation. Congressman, thank you.
Thank you.
What? Go ahead, sir.
Well, we have the Inspector General now telling us he is investigating. As you know, IGs have criminal authority, and we expect to make sure we get to the bottom of both the bad idea, the misuse of funds, and any criminal wrongdoing.
Well, I think most Americans would love to have friends at the IRS who gave them $500 million contracts. But anyway, thank you, Congressman.